Hello everyone, here is the rookie video. After watching Rick and Morty season 6, I want to make a video to discuss with you all, from start to finish today, explore what's going on in this incredibly complex story of 6 to 1. The first is a new worldview. In the 5th season finale, undeniable, the damage done by the evil Morty is not irreversible. Now we know that if the protagonist Rick can go back to the garage and restart the teleporter energy fluid, then the entire green door interdimensional system can return to normal. We also seem to know about some special locations, like the Citadel. Another example is the Jerry trusteeship. In fact, they are located in some very special areas. Reached directly by flying a spacecraft from other dimensions. This also explains the 2-2 opening that year. Rick and Morty didn't use portals but relying on the spaceship, arrived at the Jerry Trust. In other words, Rick and Morty is the part that can get out of the Citadel and fly home, but unfortunately, the long space flight exhausted the energy of the entire area. The surviving Mortys also turned into cannibals because of the shortage of food. Eat yourself. Rick and Morty are exhausted, but there is no way to break through. In the end, it was a warm companionship, prepared to meet death together. The Phoenix plan was sabotaged by evil Morty. If you die like this, you may really die, and at the juncture of crisis, Space Beth is dedicated. Clone like Captain Marvel, rescue the trapped Rick and Morty, lead them out of the sea of misery. Here Space Beth also uses spaceships. Directly flew back to the home of the main dimension of the animation. Again, the Citadel is in a special flyable location. They were starving to the skin and bones, one old and one small, 2 live treasures. Still don't forget to be funny. Beth brought 2 sandwiches. Hurry up and replenish the body of the grandfather and grandson who are in need. Master said slow. I haven't eaten for so long. Direct consumption will make the appetite unbearable, so Rick called the food decomposer. Carefully decompose Morty's sandwiches into nutrient molecules. Master said that he took care of him. Come to the grandson to eat quickly. I am afraid that it will not hurt the stomach. Morty, who finally had a meal, stuffed a mouthful of poo. Rick looked at it and said, "It's fine, sir, I'm not afraid of my appetite." Next, the main storyline begins. Rick originally wanted to restart the teleporter, restore the entire translatitude installation, but he didn't do it well. In the end, it was not the parallel universe energy liquid that was restored, but all the people in the parallel universe have been restored. Specifically, if you are already dead, you will continue to die without being affected. Who are still alive will be teleported back to the dimension they were originally in. This bullshit. The protagonist Morty will return to the original dimension that was Cronenberg's in the 1st season. And the protagonist Rick will return to the original dimension where the original wife and daughter were blown up. At the same time, a shocking secret was revealed. Back then at the Jerry Trust, our protagonist, Jerry, was indeed led wrong. He is also a person of other dimensions. Now back to the original dimension. Mystery of how many years was finally revealed. Let's look at the protagonist Morty first. He returned to his original home. This place is still occupied by Cronenberg monsters, as early as the 6th episode of the 1st season. Protagonist Morty were left to die, unexpectedly. Jerry in this dimension is extremely powerful, become a real man, lead the family to survive the end of the day strong. Protagonist Morty climbed up on the roof and looked around and noticed that a bonfire was raised not far away. He ran over to check and found that the flame was extinguished. The man who made the fire has also left. We can see the props that have appeared in 1 to 6. Summer used it to tell about the movie Jaws. Morty follows the footprints on the ground. I searched all the way to a store. Then it's him. The situation is so bad, but still go to the pornographic magazine area. Look at the beauty first. At this moment, there was a commotion behind him. The protagonist's landing is also battle-hardened. Very responsive. However, he turned to attack, but only hit his original father. My own flesh and blood have been separated for a long time, ready to reunite. However, Jerry didn't care about being stabbed at all. Without hesitation, used the flame to stop the bleeding. Then he told us a cruel truth. The original relatives of the protagonist Morty still in the 1st episode of the 3rd season. The Citadel sent law enforcement officers to freeze the 3. Then the whole episode revolved around how the protagonist Rick went against the sky. He sparked a 3-way melee. No one pays attention to the family of 3 who were hurriedly frozen. Then a Cronenberg licked the ice and melted it, but Summer failed to thaw. Because of this, died on the spot. Beth had a bad cold, no cure, also followed her daughter away. Only Jerry survived. Lingering to this day, the saddest thing is, Jerry talked about the whole incident with no expression. It's like I've already accepted everything. Morty's mood at the moment is very complicated, but he and his family in the main dimension of animation have gone through too much. And the original family has been separated for a long time, feelings have faded away, so Morty just responded, "My father has conquered the end. It seems that everyone underestimates you." To this sentence, Jerry did not make any response, but his eyes suddenly changed. Immediately after the Morty proposal, "I still have the family games of the year in my room, let's play together, father and son." However, when Morty got back the game, his father had already left, just a note left, it says, "Goodbye, son, I've been waiting for you to leave." To steal your supplies, Morty just reacted and wanted to catch up with Jerry, but he fell into the trap set by his father again. This real man Jerry also commented, "Maybe your materials are really bad," as he ran away. He also set a trap, write a note. This Jerry is quite defiant. Of course, the protagonist Morty is not free. Caught up with Jerry riding a Ronenberg, seeing his son chasing after him again, Jerry can't hold back. He shouted out what he had previously held in his heart, "Morty, you say everyone underestimates me. So now I'm finally worthy of being your Morty's dad, worthy of your time to play a game with me, then I really thank you, even at the cost of my wife and my daughters all dead." Morty was very distressed, wanted to explain that you misunderstood. "I actually want to apologize. And I can help you find a new dimension, give you a new family, a new life, a new job." Jerry responded calmly, "I'm doing very well, I don't need anything." Rick is right, man will have nothing in the end, so it's better to let go sooner rather than later. I end this meaningless universe. I have no desire. Jerry left a lonely back to Morty and turned to leave. Moonlight plus vicissitudes of life, it made his hair look like Rick's blue-white. This Jerry really didn't provoke anyone, quite a man protects his family. It's a pity that the protagonist is tied up. And there is nothing left. Had to forcibly bear everything. On the other hand, our protagonist Rick returns to the sad place he once was. In addition to the ground, can also see traces of bombs exploded. The whole house has basically been restored by Rick at this time. Diane's voice suddenly came out of the house, just as the audience was about to get excited. How could Diane still be alive? The plot is getting worse and worse. The so-called Diane speaks very acerbic, every word pierced into Grandpa's wound. He reminded Rick, "You are truly omnipotent, in addition to not being able to protect your dearest family, Rick. Wait till you find the next wife who treats you like me. Don't forget to tell her how miserable I died." Rick, "I heard you found a new daughter." The master responded softly, "Yes. She looks a lot like you." Diane said, "Like me, where she died too?" Every sentence sees blood. Heartbreaking sentences. It turned out that after Diane died, Rick thinks everything is his own fault. He is out of self-blame. Figured out one of the scariest ways to torture yourself? Rick developed a Diane AI, let it say all kinds of heartbreaking words in her voice. Open Rick's scars again and again. The sound was always coming from the next room. Let Rick not see her figure. In fact, Rick didn't make Diane's entity at all. Because he doesn't think he deserves to touch his wife again, no longer worthy of physical safety. Then Rick makes the world outside the house look exactly like the day his wife was bombed. Repeated operation. Rick himself stayed in the house, tormented by the language of Diane AI. And the days spent repeatedly like this should be inserted after the clues to the murderer are broken. And before the construction of the citadel, so probably Rick's coming of age from this hairstyle. I have tortured myself until the old age with this hairstyle. Then there is the device that makes the same day repeated. Rick forgot to turn it off, so the neighbors are dragging their old bodies to this day, repeating the cycle the day Diane died. Rick then closed the device, allow innocent people to die normally. This contempt for life, no matter how miserable, it also makes people feel bad for Rick. Of course, the chaos of many characters returning to their original dimensions. The main character, Rick, is definitely going to be fixed. Told Summer the solution before he was teleported away. The setting of this solution, officials haven't given it all yet. We only know that by some means can turn the chasm that evil Morty opened into a kind of bridge. In other words, to turn this crack into a giant portal. As long as you enter it, you can jump to the parallel universe you want to go, but there seems to be a bug in it. Isn't it possible to fly directly to other universes from the Citadel? The protagonist Rick arrived at the Citadel first with the original spaceship that drove away from home. Then fly from the Citadel to the dimension you want to go to? Is it also possible? Or the Citadel can only fly out but not in, so it is necessary to use this interdimensional rift? I don't know, it's a bit messy. Fill the holes slowly. In any case, the protagonist Rick retrieved his original spaceship. This ship looks more handsome, seems to be more powerful. The AI of the ship was replaced by Diane's voice. At the same time, Summer and two mothers went to the Citadel, activated that crack. allowing Rick to teleport across latitudes, but the activated crack has attracted a large number of terrifying alien creatures, launched a frantic attack on the mother and daughter. 3. Fortunately, there was a superhero ability vending machine at home at first. Summer chose the ability of a Wolverine, let him kill the quartet with his two mothers. After entering the crack, Rick is the first to jump to the Cronenberg dimension, rescue the protagonist Morty. Diane, AI of the spacecraft, suddenly reminded. Now every Rick returns to the original dimension, so the killer you're looking for is probably there too. Rick was instantly reminded, immediately kill hearts everywhere. He angrily fell in the attachment of the protagonist Morty, then, out of nowhere, suddenly shouted to Morty. Morty, have you seen another Rick? Rick in the jacket. The truth is broken, the killer Rick of the year is also the jacket Rick, the original Rick of the protagonist Morty. Protagonist Rick is not a man who is tired of the Citadel. I just found a Beth for spiritual comfort. He went to the original dimension of Killer Rick while there with Morty on an adventure while waiting for the return of his wife murderer. Now the situation has completely collapsed. Protagonist Rick will take the protagonist Morty, who has been with him for a long time, to kill his grandfather. But revenge talks an easy. Jacket Rick invented the transmission gun earlier than the protagonist Rick. Its IQ, ability, and mentality seem to be superior to the protagonist Rico. Audience first saw Rick, the protagonist who tried to chase the murderer, by Jacket Rick. Other party seems to have made a naked clone and said that the real me was already somewhere else, but give you a chance for revenge, come and kill this me. All kinds of traps swarmed into the field. Let the protagonist Rick be overwhelmed, didn't get a step forward for half a day. A bunch of countdown timers are popping up throughout the facility. This area is about to explode, and the protagonist Morty first persuaded the protagonist Rick to let go of his revenge, leave first, and discuss in the congregation, but Rick insisted on going his own way, and his intention to kill was determined. Therefore, the protagonist Morty said on the spot, I will help you. I don't know my original Rick at all, he left before I was born. It's you Rick who keeps taking me on adventures, it is the two of us who will fight together forever. So my protagonist Morty thinks your protagonist Rick is my master. This remark instantly moved the protagonist Rick escaped the facility that was about to explode. Revenge failed. Two came to the Citadel to join the others, and Rick's technical level is indeed much higher than his daughter's. The alien creature that Summer couldn't deal with Beth for a long time was shot to death by Rick twice. Rick said it was finally reunited. Let's go home and celebrate. Beth responded quickly, don't try to fool around, there's Jerry too. Rick looked unhappy and almost made it, and the protagonist Jerry, still loser. Before everyone came to pick him up, he was all silent, endured the mockery of the original wife and daughter. But when everyone came to take him home, Jerry came to the bottom in an instant. Hurry up and shout to the original family members, you frogs in the well still look down on me and laugh at me for not working. Everyone knows that Jerry is actually a cosmic traveler who has been teleported across dimensions. I despise you. Bye. Before leaving, he knocked on the door. Everyone is here now. But there is one last question. Jerry in the main dimension of animation. At present this original Jerry ran back home. He once asked his wife to operate on a deer. I even bought ice cream for my wife. It's been a while. However, Jerry's problem of being smart and being cheap can't be changed. Rick has a pet at home, called Mr. Frundles. This original Jerry shouted that pets are not allowed at home, to feel it outside, doesn't matter if the cage is opened. Frundles has amazing assimilation ability, biting, walking, touching things, all assimilated into Frundles, and the chain reaction is very fast, irreversible. So the instant corresponds to the Cronenberg dimension. A whole new dimension of Frundles is born. After so many seasons of animation, the main dimension needs to be replaced again, like waiting for a pair of Rick and Morty to be blown up back then. This time I took the family of 6 to find another dimension where the explosion occurred. Can't help but wonder, what a coincidence, wouldn't these explosions be arranged by the protagonist Rick? In the new dimension, the tombs in the backyard suddenly turned from 2 to 6. Until the end of the first episode of this 6th season, the teleportation fluid still has no chance of being repaired. The interdimensional system is still in a damaged state. It seems that this pit has to wait for the next plot to fill in. As for that jacket Rick, at the end of the animation, it is not clear whether he is the deity or a clone. I felt at the time that he was more likely to be the deity. This next time. In the Cronenberg dimension, the protagonist Morty's father met this jacket Rick today. Jerry distracts each other's energy while looking for an opportunity to strike first. Eliminate this potential threat directly. The technology gap that can only accept 2 people is too big. Jacket Rick is easy to restore. Among the original relatives of our protagonist Morty, there is one less. This tragic Jerry suddenly became angry and killed, still quite emotional. Probably the most ingratiating Jerry lived the worst. Morty, the protagonist of the family, asked the key question, Rick, you came to me to take risks, because you want to be with me forever. Or use me as bait to seduce that killer Rick? The question is tricky and the answer is likely to be heart-wrenching. I didn't expect Rick, who has always been meaningless. But answered very honestly, he said, because Jacket Rick never took Morty to heart, he's the perfect Rick. Really think that infinite parallel universe everything is meaningless and I, the Rick who claims to be the most Rick, will not be the strongest because of my heart. And worry, it turns out that the protagonist Rick is not a ruthless, mad and arrogant person. In his heart there is remorse for his wife, there is hatred that fails to avenge, more caring for Morty. Really great episode 6-1 worth digging. There is also a lot of content in the plot that needs to be explored in depth. Our new journey has officially started. And it will last 2.5 months. I believe this 6th season will be even more exciting. Must make everyone happy. Thanks in advance for watching. You on our next show.